So Sony might actually be finally, after all, might actually be working on a emulator for the PlayStation 5 to be able to play PlayStation 3 games. Now, I actually got a select few PS3 games that I absolutely like that would be insanely cool to like just pop in a disc in your PlayStation 5, start the game right away, and just be able to possibly play it, maybe get some like patches or whatever for these games that allow for like, 4K, higher frame rates than like 30 FPS that these games honestly do. Or even then, just to be able to pop in the game and just play what it originally looked like and probably would play somewhat better and performance wise when it comes to like frame rates because of how much powerful that the PlayStation 5 is. Now, these are a select few games that I got. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, they're like, well, you can literally just play that game on the PlayStation 5 with the PS4 version, and it will play in native 4K at 60 frames a second. But honestly, I still think it would be honestly pretty dope just to play the original PlayStation 3 version of this game, just to pop in the disc, play the old school 720 1080p version or whatever. I just think it would be a very cool thing. But here are the other games that aren't backwards compatible and with no native PlayStation 4 versions. This game, however, classic Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 from 2011, I honestly think that this is still the best Call of Duty ever. This is still our favorite Call of Duty ever, even though we absolutely like the newer current version, Modern Warfare 3. But the old school original MW3 still holds a very special place in our hearts because personally, I thought, like, for a modern Call of Duty game ever, and I know that there are going to be probably some people that are going to comment on this video that some did not like it and some absolutely say, yes, you are a true COD player. But survival was a mode that absolutely just made me love this game. The campaign of the ending of the storyline between the three Modern Warfare trilogies, well, the trilogy of Modern Warfare, I should say, the ending of the trilogy also was so good, and the multiplayer was so realistic, it felt like actually real life. Like, all three of these modes, campaign, multiplayer, survival, they've what made this game good is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, still the best Call of Duty game ever. You can play this on an Xbox One or Xbox Series S or X console, but you can't play this on a PlayStation console, not even on a OG PS4 or PS4 Pro. So hopefully that would be dope for that game. Another great game that people absolutely would love to play, and are you ready? It is Skate 3. So we have the greatest hits edition, as you see, the red case and whatever. This is definitely would be a nice game to pop in the disc on your PlayStation 5 and just play it. Now, I think this game does hit a native 1080p on the OG PlayStation 3 if you have it connected to an HDMI on an HD TV or 4K Ultra HD television. But currently you can already play this also backwards compatible on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X or S. But this would be another great game that even without a remaster or whatever, this would be another great game to play on a modern PlayStation console like the PlayStation 5. Like, you just either download it or pop a hard copy disc like we have right here in your PlayStation 5. But I know that a lot of PlayStation fans, this is definitely a game they would love to be able to pop in their disc, their PS3 disc, or go to their store and just be able to download and play this game natively, even without enhancements. Like, this is a game I know a lot of PlayStation fans would like. Now, this is a game that is not extremely popular, but there are some people out there that I do think that would love to play this game. And honestly, this game may not happen. Sony might be doing the PlayStation 3 emulator just like how Microsoft did with the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, possibly just like emulating individual certain games from different developers. Now, this could very well be wrong, and they might be working on a completely software of emulation that you could just update the PlayStation 5 is what I'm trying to say, with a PlayStation 5 software update, and it's just an emulator altogether, and you could just literally pop in any PlayStation 3 disc and just play the native versions of those games. But WWE 12, now this is a game that it wasn't super popular, I do remember, on the 360 and PlayStation 3 and Wii generation, but I do know that there are some WWE fans out there that absolutely love WWE 12, and some would they would love to replay this game. And honestly, this is actually when WWE, like gameplay wise and just like the new universe mode at the time, this is actually when this was actually starting to get better and more realistic and better moves and just better story and all that, and updated universe mode and whatever. So this is actually when I honestly thought the WWE games were starting to get better, is after the release of 12. And 12 is still one of our favorite WWE games still to this day, when you got games like 2K19 that has been really popular, 2K24, the newest one out, and then the last two, 2K23 and 2K22, which were also well-received games. Honestly, that one would be awesome to replay on a modern PlayStation, or let alone an Xbox console. But here is a game that was not also very popular, but I know that there would be a lot of people, or a decent chunk of people, that would love to replay this on a modern console, whether it be an Xbox or a PlayStation. And that is Spyro. The Legend of Spyro: Dawn of the Dragon. Now, this was the last very good Spyro game, still to this day, minus the remaster Reignited trilogy that happened a few years ago. This is actually the last good Spyro game before the Reignited trilogy. And the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions of this game were the best versions to play. You get to play this game in a HD 720p resolution, and it was definitely a big difference when you compare this game running on a Nintendo Wii or PlayStation 2 alone. So when you play this on a PlayStation 2 with an AV cable that's basically composite and component, let alone then put this one on a PlayStation 3 on an HD display, this is going to look 10 times better because of the HD resolution. And personally, honestly, hard copies for this game, as you can see of how much that we bought it, this was back in 2017 that we bought this game, and like literally it was $55. Like, I'm not kidding. $55, as you're seeing right there, $54.99. And the reason being that this game is that price, especially from back then, it's about the same price still right now, is because this was very, very rare. They did not make as many copies, hard copies I should say, of this game, for the best versions being the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions. But you can find more copies of this particular game for especially like the PlayStation 2 and the Wii, which, if you really think about it, the PlayStation 2 and the Wii actually did sold more than what the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 did. So it would honestly make sense why that there's less copies of those versions like this one in the 360 minus over the Wii and the PlayStation 2. But yeah, there has been a leak and a rumor going on that's now came back around that Sony is actually working on a PlayStation 3 backward compatibility emulator. And honestly, those right there are just a selection of a few games that would be insanely nice to go back and just, even if there's no enhancements, just pop the disc in and play natively 1080p of what the games originally looked like on the PlayStation 3 versions, and just be able to play them, maybe get somewhat better, steadier frame rates at like 30 and 60 frames a second that the games did run. But minus all that, even just playing on the standard 720 1080p resolution, honestly, a lot of people would really like that. But it's probably not going to be like that. Sony's probably making an emulator that's going to basically enhance a selection of games, just like what they're doing with the PlayStation 2. And you want to be able to play those games on a modern console, yet you have to buy it again. And you won't probably be able to simply just put those discs in your PlayStation 5. And just, even if you have to download like a software update that allows the emulation of the game itself to be able to play, whether if it's like a couple gigs, even if you had to do that, people would still prefer to be able to pop in a disc, even if they have to download the software update that allows the game to be playable, just like what Microsoft did with Xbox 360 backwards compatibility on Xbox One and as well as Series X and S. Because you pop a disc in that's backwards compatible, you have to download a software. Well, you just got to download an update for that game that fully is an emulator that allows that game to be able to play on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X or S. So, honestly, that's probably what it honestly is. Is probably, we're just going to have to buy the games again with probably better HD resolution or frame rates or whatever. But then again, we may not be able to, considering that you can already play like all of the PlayStation 4 games on a PlayStation 5 natively and all that good stuff. So, honestly, I kind of hope that that's actually true. I hope that Sony is making a PlayStation 3 emulator backward compatibility on PlayStation 5 hardware that fully allows you to play any disc or any download of PlayStation 3 games that you currently own, because honestly, we have a huge selection. We have a huge collection of PlayStation 3 games, especially right on that game shelf right there on the other side of our TV. Like, we have like almost near 200 PlayStation 3 games on disc. That's a lot. So being able to go back and play those on modern consoles, that would be pretty darn sick. And a lot of PlayStation fans I have been hearing that have been seeing them and seeing this leak and rumor about this happening are extremely excited and hope that this is what Sony is doing. So, Sony is probably in the works of making a PS3 emulator because people love old games. But when it comes to like whether we could just put our discs in and download the digital versions that we currently own, or if we have to rebuy patches of them that's just enhancing the games or whatever, we don't really know at this point. But hopefully this is just going to allow us to pop in our discs and even install a update of the game, whether if it's a couple gigs or whatever, to fully allow us to play the game just like Microsoft did with backwards compatibility. Even if it's just like that, people would still be very, very excited to do that. They will absolutely buy space. Just, honestly, probably external hard drives would really work well for PlayStation 5. So you can go buy a 2 or 3 terabyte hard drive, and PlayStation 3 games would absolutely run and just be able to be installable, so you got plenty of space and you don't take up your SSD storage for like PlayStation 5 games. But honestly, that's what a lot of people hope for, and so will I. I do hope that we can just one day here in the near future, we can just pop in our PlayStation 3 disc and just start playing right away. I was about to say wide away, but you get it. So, this is Tech and Gaming Reviews. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys could, smack that like button and subscribe to our channel, and we will keep you posted with more content like this going forward. And let us know in the comment section down below if this actually makes you excited, and if you really hope that this is true, that Sony is working on a PlayStation 3 emulator that fully allows you to put your PlayStation 3 games directly in a PlayStation 5 and start playing. And let us know a selection of PS3 games that you would be absolutely looking forward to playing on modern PlayStation consoles, like if you like Grand Theft Auto 4 or freaking Call of Duty Black Ops 1, you know, the list goes on. Just let us know in the comment section down below if you hope that this is true, that Sony is doing, and what games would you be looking forward to revisiting from the PlayStation 3 on your modern PlayStation 5 console. So, Tech and Gaming Reviews here. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next one. Peace.